Day 8. It's been 8 days since I got in Great Bear, and 8 days since I fully realized my situation. For anyone that is reading this that isn't me, my name is Brett Moore. I'm 23 years old. I came to Great Bear on a ferry in hopes to reconnect with my great uncle Jeremiah and have a hunting trip with him. I walked 5 days and encountered small towns along the way that were nearly abandoned. The people there were nice enough to point me towards Mystery Lake, the lake of which my uncle lived. I ended up traveling with no direction after I encountered a mountain tunnel, which had collapsed onto itself. I climbed the lowest point I could see to try to pass the mountains. By the time the mountains had turned into hills, I was lost, until I encountered the savior I'm at now. A small town with signage stating its name, Milton. Milton wasn't on any of my directions from the locals, but some did mention that it was a good place to stop if you wanted to buy some mountaineering gear. I had to be close to Mystery Lake, but that is now the least of my concerns. My detours and delays had burned through any food I had prepared for the trip. All forms of technology, like my phone, flashlight, have seemed to stop working. The place I'm staying in seems abandoned like the rest of the town. I'll find out tomorrow for sure that this place is really deserted. Day 9. I guess this place really is abandoned after all. Abandoned isn't even the right word. More like deceased, as I've only seen one person. Face down, in the snow. Dead. Felt like a fool's errand, yelling up and down this town's only road, knocking on doors to link the wind as a response, and coming to terms that the only person here, other than me, is a frozen corpse. I would have mourned if I wasn't so hungry. I need to eat soon. I hope that person didn't starve to death. Day 10. I've gone into full survival mode, pilfering the houses of this town. Any qualms I had about stealing are quenched at the sight of what happens if I don't do what is necessary to survive. I've encountered 3 bodies that all have succumbed to some kind of exposure. 1 outside, and 2 in what I assume in their own homes. I also brought in a small haul of non-perishables, though I doubt they would last me more than 2 weeks. It's obvious what killed this town. The cold. The cold is already making its presence felt more than any feelings of guilt over theft, more than any feelings of remorse seeing the frozen faces of fate that I encounter. More than anything. What I'd do to have a warmer fire. Day 11. I've given up hope on warm days. There's only days with wind and without wind. A blizzard has me locked up. Until it dies down, I'm going nowhere. Day 15. I've searched nearly every building of this mountain town called Milton. Every building here seems like a tragedy. Homes abandoned out of necessity or their own owners staying to a bitter end. A bank implies that there was once business here, further affirmed by the locked-up gas station down the road. A post office, meaning that the once inhabitants had people they knew outside of this place. A dilapidated schoolhouse. I'd hate to see a child in this weather. I'd hate to find a tiny corpse. Day 17. Milton has been good to me, but what I've scrounged up won't last forever. The wolves I would normally see in the distance had begun to close in on the town streets, and they look as hungry as I am. I'm beginning to have doubts about whoever told me that wolves generally don't attack people. Anyways, I'll try to find a way to get to Mystery Lake tomorrow. Day 19. Scouted out a place to effectively escape, but not without consequences. A wolf finally got the idea to try to use me as a meal. I warded it off by some luck or other survival factor. Unfortunately, the fluffy jerk sunk its teeth into my left hand. Luckily, I'm right-handed. Day 20. I got everything to climb down to Mystery Lake, except for a left hand. The time it takes for my hand to fully mend, I'll make sure to take full stock of what I have. The climbing rope, bedroll, and storm lantern, which I got from the gas station after some liberal persuasion. Approximately 5 days of rations that are non-perishable, and 2 days of stuffs I should make sure safe to eat before eating. Basic first aid supplies, bandages, antiseptic, over-the-counter painkillers. Hopefully, my hand heals quick. Day 22. I'm writing before I leave to what I hope is Mystery Lake. I'll meet up with Great Uncle Jeremiah and be safe. And when I get out of this, no one's gonna believe what happened. Jeremiah! Great Uncle Jeremiah! It's Brett! Jeremiah isn't here. Quickly scanning the one-room cabin made that clear. There are also no footprints in the snow, and the weather's been quite calm recently, so he isn't here. I have the feeling it's been like that for a while. Day 23. I know this is Jeremiah's cabin. I may have only come here once as a kid, but this is a sight I'd never forget. Now that I think of it, Jeremiah did have stories about helping climbers that took a bad fall getting to Mystery Lake. Starting to see why. I've taken time to fully inspect Great Uncle Jeremiah's cabin in hopes of learning what it truly means to be a man living off the land. I've had survival training, hadn't needed till now, so what I found in here will be more helpful than anything else. A map of the general area, books about natural remedies and edible plants, information on how to craft certain survival gear like fishing lines, and a book on how to make everything count from your kill. I know Jeremiah had always cherished his rifle, which is absent from the gun rack on the wall. I guess it's comforting to know that Jeremiah hasn't parted with his most faithful companion. Day 24. I'm planning on going on a fishing trip tomorrow. It's kinda awkward to say something that normal in this situation, but using the map I plan on going to the lake tomorrow, which is just across some train tracks. I've already started to make some fishing tackle from what I learned. It should hopefully work out. After all, my food supplies won't last forever, and I don't know when I'll get out of this. But it's better to be prepared than not. Day 25. As terrible as this situation is, the least I can say is that it's beautiful out here. Even with the cold biting my face, the white snow encapsulating everything, and the natural geography that is dotted with human structures that are seemingly left to Mother Nature's playthings, make a morbid yet pleasing painting. The scenery is only a distraction from how horrid my fishing trip was. As I approached the lake, I was delighted that there were shanties out on the lake, so I didn't have to worry about the elements whilst fishing. I fished since the sun was high in the sky, till it was an hour before sunset. And what do I have to show for it? Broken fishing lines, red and chapped hands from pulling on the lines with my bare hands, and a small fry that I wouldn't even reckon is 2 pounds. I wouldn't be able to make it to Jeremiah's cabin tonight, so I'm staying in the lake camp's office. Staying here has proven quite useful, though. As I searched the place, I found a flare gun behind the desk, presumably for emergencies. Well, this is an emergency, and it's not like I've seen anyone in 25 days that would need it. I took the flare gun. Day 27. I made another, similarly successful, fishing trip yesterday. Frustrated with it all, I decided to take a trip to the cabins that were dotted around the lake. The cabins were mostly uneventful, netting me useful gear as always, but I kept on seeing the same pamphlet in every cabin, including the camp office when I went back, and even Jeremiah's cabin, though it was in his small trash bin. It was for an organization called the Forest Talkers. The name easily correlates with their hippie, tree-hugging agenda, but what is interesting is that there are directions to a headquarters. Follow the tracks south, used by the logging company to haul their ill-gotten goods. We are on a hill behind a maintenance building, which was once land rightfully claimed by nature. We welcome those who believe Mother Nature should not be used for profit. The pamphlet makes it seem like they're a doomsday cult. I might pay them a visit. I do hope they were prepared for doomsday. Day 28. I'm all ready to make the trek to the Forest Talkers. Unfortunately, they fail to mention how long it would take to get there. I packed for a 6-day journey. If I don't get there by 3 days, I turn around. I do hope they have something other than pork and beans and canned peaches. Maybe some pasta. Day 29. I'm 1 day up the railroads and no signs of the Forest Talkers. The march, on the other hand, that these tracks span is at least scenic. The only scene I don't like seeing is the wolves on the far side of the marsh. My left hand still hasn't made 100% recovery, and I don't want an injury like that again. I should be fine though. I'm staying inside a boxcar of a derailed train. It looks like I wasn't the only one to have this idea. I just hope I don't turn out like my new roommate. Day 30. I found the maintenance yard in the Forest Talker HQ. I got here around midday, giving me plenty of time to search both premises. The yard gave me little to work with, some cans of soda, and a few tools that were worth adding to my pack. A hacksaw, a hatchet, and a whetstone. The Forest Talker HQ. A large lodge that rests on top of a hill overlooking the maintenance yard. The place is empty. I don't know what I was expecting. Searching the place fully netted me more than any other place I've looted so far, other than what looks like wild meat that has gone rather rancid in the non-active freezer. There's jerky, canned foods, and potable water. Looks like they were prepared for doomsday, but nobody was here to take advantage of it, till now. I filled my pack with as much food and other rations as I could, and I will go back tomorrow. Still though, no pasta. Day 32. I made a simple mistake last night. My pack was so leavened with what I brought from the forest talkers, I was winded when I got back to the boxcar, which now marks the midway point. I fell asleep immediately as soon as I got into my bedroll, without taking off or at least loosening my boots. If someone that reads this doesn't know why this is bad, put shortly, your extremities swell slightly when you fall asleep, and if you don't remove your boots, your feet will be constricted and have no circulation. I just spent an hour getting a feeling back into my feet, not because of the cold this time. Nonetheless, I've made it back to Jeremiah's. For the first time, I have no direction, nowhere to go, and no idea if I'm the only one here. Day 33. For once, I don't have anything to do. I have food and water, simple tools for survival, and a respectable amount of firewood. If only I had a deck of cards. Day 35. I've decided to do some hunting today in lieu of needing to do something. There are rabbits that run free behind Jeremiah's cabin. I ran with a handful of stones and tried to pelt a rabbit with one. Felt like a caveman. Eventually I hit one. It didn't kill him outright, it only lay there stunned. I grabbed the small creature in my hands along with its life. Is it bad that I didn't think twice about it? Probably not as bad as my rabbit stew. Day 38. I've got to move on. I can't stay in this cabin forever. The two ways I can go when looking at Jeremiah's map is either through the dam and up the river or along the railroad tracks. My gut tells me upriver. Who knows how long the railroad tracks are and if they'll even lead to society. At least if I go upriver, I'll have access to water and the ability to try to fish if I run low on food. I've made my decision. Day 39. I've made it to the dam and I have to stay here for the night. I don't like this place. The infrastructure creaks and it sounds like it will buckle and fall at any second. Not to mention the creepy atmosphere this place emits. I feel like the ghost of what was is looming overhead. Ugh. I'm not gonna get much sleep tonight. Day 40. The river has been somewhat eventful. Cattails along the banks make for good traveling snacks, and the winding river makes for great scenery. My travel was cut short, though, by what looks like a rock slide. I was able to take a detour through a cave. I don't want to spend too much time in here. If I don't get out tomorrow, I'll turn back. Then again, I can't see the sun, so who knows how much time I've spent in here already. Day 41. I met the exit of the cave only to meet the night sky. The beauty of the night was cut short by a wolf's howl in the distance. Walking a short ways, I saw a transmission tower in the distance. I hoped that it had an operator building. If it didn't, it'd be most likely a wolf's midnight snack. My hopes were well placed, as I finally crested the hill and saw a building surrounded by a dilapidated chain link fence. I swear, I heard a bark and a growl before I closed the door. Day 42. I looked around the operator building of this transmission tower. Unsurprisingly, all the electric equipment was fried, meaning this place was useless. I foolishly thought that I might be able to get an SOS out, but no power, no transmission. I looked out in the horizon to find my next place of travel and saw a farmhouse. If anything, it'd probably have something useful. Day 43. I made it to the farmhouse and found a new best friend. A hunting rifle, chambered in .303. Overall, this changes everything. Predator becomes prey, and prey becomes predator. I think I'll take a walk with my new friend to get to know each other. Day 45. I forgot what actual meat tasted like. It was always beef jerky and pork and beans. People always told me how hard it is to hunt. Guess it's pretty easy when your prey is as hungry as you are. Wolf meat probably isn't good for me. But if it tastes like anything, it tastes like victory. Victory over this frozen waste. Victory over the natural order of things. Victory over everything these last 45 days stood for. And when I get out of this, it will be the greatest hunting story that I have. Day 46. I feel like I can just conquer this world. I know what I need to do next. There's a tall mountain close to here. If I get on top of that, I should be able to see everything and plot my next course. That's just a secondary goal, though. I just really want to conquer everything this place has to offer. Day 48. After a few days of travel, I made it to the base of the mountain. I'm staying in a semi-broken down lodge that reads Mountaineering Club for Timberwolf Mountain. Looks like this was the base camp for all those who wanted to climb the mountain. This place has everything I need. Maps, ropes, a handwritten guide on how to crest Timberwolf. There's also a note from what I presume was left from one of the climbers that was once here. Mentions something about a plane going down in the area. Sounds crazy. Day 49. Preparations are complete. I have everything I should need. Then, when I write again, I should be in a cave towards the top of the mountains. Alright. Just take it easy. Just to go slow. I hate high bridges. Just take it slow. Come on, Brett. You can do this. I made it safely to the cave mentioned in the climber's notes. That climber might not be crazy as I thought, though. I saw some containers of what would come out of a large plane. If only I had a way to open them. Nonetheless, at this pace, I should summit tomorrow. For now, I'll get some sleep. All this climbing has winded me. Day 50. Looks like the crazy climber was right about the plane. The whole tail section is up here on the summit, and it looks like the climber found it too. I looked at the vista from the top of this mountain. This whole place has been terrible to me and to so many others, and yet it has to mock me with its beauty. Beautiful or not, I did not see any way out of the valley. In the long run, I'll need to backtrack to that dam and see where the railroad tracks lead. I fired a flare before I went down from the summit, hoping someone might see it. Day 52. I'm back in the mountaineering hut. I was woken up by an amazing sight. It was the first time I had ever seen the aurora borealis. The lights of green and magenta made for the most beautiful light show that I've ever had the pleasure to see. Maybe this was just a reward for cresting that mountain. As I observed, I went to get some food out of my pack and noticed a flickering light in my pack. It's my flashlight. I had nearly forgotten about it. It was brand new, yet it died right away when I got myself into this whole mess. Why is it working now? Maybe something to do with the lights? I checked my phone, which had naturally worked its way to the bottom of my pack. It would turn on, then off. Apparently not enough charge to stay on, unlike the flashlight. If I was only at the transmission tower, I might have been able to get a signal out and got out of this situation. I don't know when the next aurora could be, and I don't have the resources to wait for the small chance to get a signal out that won't reach anyone. I'll stay a couple days at the transmission tower when I head my way back to the dam. Day 61. Nothing eventful to report. I've made it back to the dam in one piece. I stayed at the transmission tower and had no aurora, so I was out of luck there. It's strange. Movies and media always make survival seem like an ever-constant, tense battle between man and nature. But frankly, it can be boring sometimes. Staying at the transmission tower, waiting for an aurora, and having nothing to do other than breathe, eat, drink, and sleep is just as exciting as watching paint dry. Nonetheless, I have a new path to follow. I'll see where those railroad tracks lead. Hopefully, out of this place for good. Oh no. Oh. Just be careful. Take it easy. You got this, Brett. This is almost as bad as the tree. Alright. Balance. You could do this on a plank of wood that's laying on the ground. You can do this now. Just balance. You don't have like 50 pounds on your back. You don't have an intimidating fall that could kill you at any second. I can't wait to get off this damned thing. Day 64. I've reached the end of the line. Literally. A tunnel collapse stops the rails from going any further. But luckily, I see a shoreline in the distance. I'm staying in a maintenance trailer. Must have been used by the logging or rail company back in the day. Day 65. I've made my way to the shore, and spanning across the shore is a road. Civilization. Unfortunately, civilization and the wild has blended so much that there's almost no difference at all. I bring this up only because I saw a large, brownish black mass, bare in the midst of the road. Kept my distance, and I need to keep my distance in the future. Day 66. I made it to a small town that was further down the coastal road. I had time to scout some of the houses that were still intact. Most of them didn't hold much, as if they were already looted. Not all of them were empty, at least. I was forced to end my escapade early, as the brown mass of fur seemed to follow me here. I do not want to tussle with a bear, even if I do have a rifle. Day 68. This bear is following me, I swear. I've been traveling this local area and only seen him every day. If I'm careful, I can easily avoid him. When I get out of this, no one's gonna believe me. Day 70. The old bear finally got his. I was going to the top of the hill to investigate a fire watch tower. I didn't even hear him until he bellowed a sound I will not forget. I turned around and saw him. I froze. First mistake. I pulled up my rifle and fired. Missed. Second mistake. He pounced on me. I was his plaything for what felt like forever. He tried biting into me and, luckily, only got fabric due to me wearing 4 layers of thick or puffy fabric. He must have been frustrated since his meal didn't taste good because he stomped on me with his full weight using his front claws. I felt the claws go through all my layers of clothing and into my chest. Winded and bloodied, the bear left me to my new grave. I used what strength I had left and pulled myself to my base of operations, the large garage and store in town. I applied all the first aid I could, antiseptic, bandages. I even tried to sew myself up, but stopped after the first stitch due to the pain. I'm avoiding taking painkillers though. They have blood-thinning properties. I need a rest for now. It'll make for some brutal scars though, if I get out of this. Day 71. All I can do is change my bandages, make sure the wounds are clean, and rest for recovery. Feels like my injury's deeper than these claws, though. Maybe a rib. Day 73. The recovery process is slow. I at least have a good supply of food. It'll last me a while. Day 74. I'm angry. Angry that I can't do anything. Angry that I let this happen. Angry at that damned bear. Angry. I must have my revenge, even if I don't get out of this. Day 75. I don't care how much it hurt to shoot that rifle. I don't care if I didn't skin his hide for everything on it. I killed it. Killed it, proving I am still the conqueror of this place. Day 77. Still knocked on my back. Strange though, it's been 2.5 months since I've found myself in this situation. I haven't thought much of home. I live mostly on my own. Parents only came around during the holidays. Didn't have many friends. I wonder if people know if I'm alive. I wonder if people care if I'm gone. I guess I'll find out if I get out of this. Day 80. I've been going absolute bonkers in here. The bleeding has mostly been stopped, but I'm still in massive pain. I'm almost sure that there's at least a rib messed up. I'm running out of food, but more importantly, I'm running out of painkillers. I'm gonna need something stronger. I've inspected up and down every inch of my now prison. I found a small booklet advertising the local area and read there was an old whaling business down the road at a place called Desolation Point. If anything, they'd probably have some strong meds in case of on-site accidents. I'll leave when the weather's favorable. It's been a rough blizzard off and on for the past couple of days. Day 81. It's dusk, and the weather has mostly died down. I don't think it should turn rough for a while. If I get out of this, it'll be one hell of a story to tell.
found another corpse. The body's been there for a while. The rusty lantern and weathered rifle by his side gave it away. I found him on my way from Desolation Point to the coastal town site so I could scavenge extra supplies and hopefully flares that I could use. He had a journal on him, and reading through it, it looks like a bear got him. This only shows that the wilds were never meant to be conquered. Brett, I hope you are in a better place. End of day 157.